ABC 10 News starts now with breaking news.
Right now, police are at the home of Maya Millete, the Chula Vista mother who has been missing for exactly 4 months today. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo is at the home on Paseo Los Gatos with details on what's going on right now. Laura.
Steve and Kimberly, we are awaiting an update from police at the moment. They're inside of the home that told us he would be out in approximately 20 minutes. But right now there is commotion on this street. You can see Maya Millete's home is giving me the number of canines. Confirm what it is looking for, but plus they will be here for several hours. Chula Vista Police Lieutenant tells us they are the agency that served the warrant here at the Millete household. This is where Maya was last seen on January 7th. And again, as mentioned, today marks the month anniversary of her disappearance. Again, there are canines here assisting in the search. A number of neighbors and people that have been participating in searches for Maya. She disappeared here. Everyone for any information. We do also have some video. Sky 10 up above. They have been circling above the home, capturing what is happening here. Now, this is the second warrant that was served here at the Millete home. They earlier this week released an update saying they have had interviews with 56 people involved in this investigation, and they've also written 23 search warrants and have reviewed and looked into 55 tips. So again, we are waiting for an update from the Chula Vista Police Department, but we do know that they are serving a warrant here at the Millete household. We are expecting an update from police at any moment, and we will bring that to you live on this edition of 10 News when that happens. For now, reporting live in Chula Vista, Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
Now, Laura, before we let you go, just a couple of questions we want to ask you, and just from what you're noticing out there. You mentioned the canines. We can see the police dogs out there as well. Do we know if these are search dogs, maybe cadaver dogs specifically?
So we did ask, and they would not confirm. There was actually also a CBP canine dog out here. We were asking them what it was those dogs are trained to look for, and they would not confirm. They told us to wait for the Chula Vista Police Department, who again is the lead agency in this investigation. So at this time, we don't know exactly what those dogs are trained for.
And again, we are waiting that press conference. You mentioned that. You also mentioned it's been 4 months to the day that Maya has been missing. We know that Larry Millete has not been considered a suspect. There's been nothing said thus far that they would consider him a suspect at this point?
No, not at this time. We have asked police about that repeatedly since this disappearance happened and since we started speaking to police about this, and at this time have not. So again, waiting for more information at the moment.
That's right. We are waiting for them to hold that press conference. As soon as that happens, we'll go right back to you, Laura. Thank you so much. Okay, as we mentioned, it has been an intense 4 months of searching since Maya disappeared. Our ABC 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala has a timeline of what we know so far.
The last day Maya Millete was seen or heard from by family members was on January 7th, 4 months ago. It was the same day the family attorney said she filled out a form requesting an appointment with a divorce lawyer. Maya was reported missing from her home on Paseo Los Gatos in Chula Vista 3 days later. Chula Vista police officers say they searched the home and vehicles that day. A second search happened on the 11th. On the 12th, ABC 10 News heard from her husband, Larry Millete. He said they had argued before she disappeared.
We've been having, problems.
Maya's family hired their own attorney and investigator to look into the case.
To continue to try and find what happened to Maya. That's my job.
It wasn't until January 23rd that Chula Vista police actually served a search warrant at Maya's home. Then in early February, police said Larry retained a lawyer and was no longer cooperating. On February 5th.
Over here. And that's really all I can provide as of now.
Can you tell us anything about arriving?
Thank you.
So we'll go ahead.
We're going to go ahead and pull the van in, so we're going to ask you guys just to move out of the way. Yeah, Lieutenant Frank Giaime, Giaime. Thank you.
Was there any force used to enter the residence this evening?
If I could have you guys.
Anyone out there?
Okay, so what was said was just very, very brief. Again, no quick update. They're just asking reporters to move back from the scene. Again, we are waiting for more updates and this press conference. As soon as that happens, we will bring more information to you.
So now let's take a turn. There is now a growing memorial outside the Chula Vista home where 2 children died early yesterday morning in a fire. And this afternoon, the family shared these photos of the boys, 4-year-old Joshua and 5-year-old Gabriel. The family says they had infectious smiles. Gabriel was a kindergartner at Avondale Elementary in Spring Valley. The superintendent says counselors are available for their classmates. Friends and neighbors have been leaving flowers and candles outside the home. The boy's father was injured in the fire. Neighbors say he was hurt trying to save his children. Turning now to coronavirus, the county reported another 210 cases today, while our test positivity rate held steady at 1%. 2 more San Diegans have lost their life to COVID, bringing that total now to just over 3,700.
Mixing and matching vaccines is not advised, but there have been cases of people showing up for one shot and then accidentally getting another. Our ABC 10 News anchor Derek Stahl goes in depth to explain why that may have some surprising benefits.
It's right there on Vina Thomas's vaccination card. First dose Pfizer, second dose panic.
And I was like, what?
That was in Northern California. In New Hampshire, it was the other way around.
As soon as he poked me, he looked down at my card, and I think he realized he just gave me the Pfizer. And I'm just like, this isn't happening.
The CDC's website says the COVID-19 vaccines are not interchangeable, adding the safety and efficacy of a mixed product series have not been evaluated.
I've been scared, I don't know what's going to happen.
But if you get dealt cards like these, doctors say don't worry.
There's certainly no danger to it.
I would think that it's not that big a deal when you get a Pfizer instead of a Moderna.
Dr. Christian Ramers of Family Health Centers of San Diego says the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines use the same mRNA technology, so they're very similar. And he says based on past vaccines, mixing might actually be a good thing, because different shots train the immune system a little differently.
Whether you're on a sports team or whether you're in the military, you drill to make the scenario as real as it can be for when you actually face the enemy. That's basically what a vaccine is. And so what this is kind of just mixing up the drills and maybe making your army or your sports team a little bit better prepared.
This mix and match 1-2 punch is already used in a vaccine authorized against Ebola, along with Russia's Sputnik V COVID vaccine. A trial called COMCOV in the UK is currently testing all kinds of mix and match combinations, like a first dose of AstraZeneca followed by a Pfizer, or a Pfizer followed by a Moderna or Novavax. Scientists think the best results will come from mixing different vaccine technologies, because some platforms are better at waking up one part of the immune system than another.
For example, you may have better antibodies responses when you do a certain approach, or you may have better T-cell responses when you do a certain approach. All that science has to be worked out.
But there are early animal studies suggesting this works, says UC San Francisco's Dr. Monica Gandhi.
There was a study in mice that showed that if you gave 2 different types of vaccines, what's called an adenovirus DNA vaccine like the Johnson & Johnson we have here, and an mRNA vaccine, you got a better immune response.
In the coming months, the question of mixing and matching will be very important if we need booster shots. Are we going to have to stick with one brand, or can we branch out?
There's a certain proportion of the population that won't respond to a hepatitis B vaccine. And if we just switch to a different brand, sometimes people do. So we may eventually mix and match. I think theoretically the risk of harm in doing that, especially if you stick with the same platform, is pretty darn low.
We should have more concrete answers soon. The NIH is about to start a study on mixing and matching booster shots, and the first results from that UK trial could be released this month. Derek Stahl, ABC 10 News.
The CDC says if you do accidentally get 2 different COVID vaccines, you are considered fully vaccinated and do not need any further doses.
We will check back in as police search the home of the woman missing since January.